Hi, I'm John Becker, and I'm here to introduce you to Chapter 8 in the online Estate and Succession Planning course. Chapter 8 is titled Property Transfers After Death. For most farm and forest landowners, the property they own is a significant portion of their estate. As earlier chapters have indicated, estate and succession planning is involved with more than just property transfers, but also the question of how do we guarantee or increase the probability of success for the succeeding owner of that business. In Chapter 8, we're going to explore some concepts dealing with the way in which property is owned and the implications of that particular ownership form. In a way, it's our first introduction to some of the more technical aspects of estate and succession planning. One thing to keep in mind is, in terms of the significance or the importance of this particular topic, is that every item of property is going to be owned by someone at any particular point in time. When that person passes away, what happens to their property? Someone will become the owner of that property, and what we're going to explore in this particular chapter is the way in which the ownership form during lifetime is going to be impacted by the property transfers that occur after that owner passes away. If you think to some of the earlier chapters, like Chapter 2, where we talked about Harry and Betty's situation, oftentimes people believe that they own property in a particular way where the technical requirements of that ownership may not actually be met. We'll explore some of those in this particular chapter. So in this chapter, we're going to look at 4 ways in which property is going to be transferred after a person's death. The first is by virtue of the way in which the person owns that property, whether it's individually, jointly with another, jointly and providing for the transfer of ownership after death, or the concept of what's called tenancy in common ownership. Then we'll look at the question of transfer under the intestate law, a situation that applies when an individual owns property and hasn't made any decisions about what's going to happen to their property after their death. We'll explore some of the provisions of the intestate law that identify who's going to receive property and how much they're going to receive. The other 2 ways that we're going to discuss in this chapter are going to involve decisions that are made by property owners during their lifetime to provide for the transfer of property after their death under the terms of a last will and testament or under the terms of a trust. Each of these will be explored in separate chapters as well as being discussed in this particular chapter. So what we're trying to focus on in this chapter is to give you an idea of the importance of how property is owned, which is often a lifetime decision or made during lifetime, and the impact that that particular decision has on the transfer of property after your death. Good luck with the chapter, and I hope that you will find some enlightening information that will help you understand the ownership of your own property.